So now we have a Schubert lead that is actually one of my favorite. It's the Toten das Mädchen, that it's like the Death and the Maiden. Actually, it's a quite famous piece of music because Schubert himself retranscribed in one of his masterpieces, the D minor quartet in the second movement. So it's a quite famous melody. And I choose this piece as well because it helps us to develop again another color on the bass. Schubert leaders are always interesting because even the singer has to be actors. They have to imitate different characters with their own voice. If you think about König, for example, you have just like the elf king that it's speaking in a very spooky way, and then you have the kid and then the father. And in here, you have just two characters, but very opposite. You have a girl that is young, and she sings that she doesn't want to die. She's too young. She has still the whole life in front of her, no? And she's just talking to this bony man that it's the death to leave her away, leave her in peace. And then you have this other character that is the death. It's this bony man, and he's inviting the girl in his velvet arms. Death is just not pictured as something dramatic or scary in here. It's just actually comfortable way of thinking that, something that it's a relief, kind of, even if the girl doesn't like it that much. So Schubert, in this case, opened this tune with this kind of sound that reminds a bell that it's calling people to a funeral, a dead bell, no? It's like... And then you have the piano that is playing a chorale, like that it really sounds like a funeral march. And then the girls start to sing. You can hear she's a bit afraid of this because, and here she's singing, just like, leave me alone, you bony man, I'm too young. And she's quite agitated. She doesn't want to go with him. And in this part at geschwinder, that it means a bit faster, you have really to play with hurry a bit, no? That you just like have a bit of anxiety. And your piano player will just have to help you in this, because you have like these syncopes that it's like, once you start the tune, the piano is doing it's like always pushing you a bit forward, just try to escape you from death, literally. And this is like the section I'm talking about is between bar 9 and bar 21. Then the death start to speak to the girl from bar 22 with the messic. And in here you have to find a very still and calm sound, because death has no hurry, no? He would just catch you anyway, so it's just like no pressure. So it's like, I will just advise you to use no vibrato, but just use the expression of your bow. And if you can, play near the fingerboard to have like a kind of thick and round sound. And I choose like the second string because it's a bit like the fourth string of violin to me, the sound of the second string of the double bass. And it's quite nasal, but also thick. So I think it's perfect for imitating the sound of the singer that imitates death actually in here. So it's like... So just using the bow expression, and to using the bowing expression, it's like changing your bow speed. And start from the beginning for the first half of your bow. And only use the weight of your bow. And not the whole hair, but just like partial of them, like just a few of them. And be more intense once you have the crochet. Be passive when you have long notes, and a bit more intense on the crotchets, because you imitate the articulation of the words. Remember, this is anyway in German, so it has to be a bit more pronounced because for the nature of the language. It's very important, actually, when we play music that it's usually sung, to have in mind the sound of the language that it was written on. And if you think about that, German music, it's very different from the Italian one, the French one, the Spanish one, just because probably each kind of music was conceived, intentionally or not, on the language. So you can find the peculiar sound of the spoken language in each music coming from different countries. So I really advise you to just have the German sound in your ear every time you're playing. I mean, in this case, the A Totum das Mädchen, but any kind of lead that is coming from the German countries. Something that is very important when you sing the Maiden is like you can use different fingerings crossing the strings, but in here I will just advise you to use the one string fingerings, because you can imitate better the shift of the voice. The only moment you can use string crossing, probably in the Maiden tune, it's around bar 14, 15, when you have this fifth. And it's nice to keep having the resonance of the B before that. But after that, it's nice to have everything smooth on, like fingered on the first string. And that's why, I mean, for me, in this case, the Maiden is just here. It's the first string sound, and the death is the second string sound. So use also your creativity and, of course, your skill after you improve the technical skill, of course, but just to play with the different sound of each string we have on bass and use it as a proper kind of synthesizer, as I always saying, and just like play with the color we are able to have on this beautiful instrument. The only time I'm going on the first string when I'm playing the death character, it's at bar 30, when I have this D. Because that here, it's lighter, it's trying to convince the maiden that dying is not that bad. And it's saying like sweet things to her. So I thought going on the first string, it's just lightening the tone up, and it's getting us a brighter sound instead of going on the D on the same string. And remember to be smooth on the shifts we have, especially at the ending shift, that it's bar 36 on this F. To let people hear, just lightly hearing them. And for doing that, again, think by position, like. And it's nice to think the shift, F sharp, A, and then you just like place your fourth finger on the B, and that's it. This is very slow, and actually it sounds like.